Now this is your fourth stimulus check update in Daily News Report.
That applies to both Social Security and Medicare as we know them.
Main point that all of us are saying that for anybody to come forward and say, you've got to cut Social Security, you've got to privatize Social Security, you've got to raise the retirement age because it's a crisis right now, it's just not true.
This is a serious movement to undo the most successful government program of the 20th century.
To the mayors, school superintendents, educators, local leaders who are standing up to the governor's politicizing mass protection for our kids, thank you. Thank you as well.
In a very different direction. Mr. President, the American people are sick and tired of growing income and wealth inequality in our country, where two people now own more wealth than the bottom 40%, where the top 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 92%, and where 45% of all new income has gone to the top 1% since 2009. In other words, the people on top are doing phenomenally well.
7 months in a row under President Biden, American families' purchasing power has shrunk. So right now, prices are rising twice as fast as paychecks. And I should note it was the opposite under President Trump. But as a result, and you pointed out, this has become the number one worry of families, but of small Main Street businesses as well, because those prices continue to go up. They don't see any end in sight. And I think, well, I'm absolutely convinced President Biden's driving these prices. One, clearly by just throwing trillions of dollars into this economy, fueling inflation. Secondly, paying workers more to stay home than to come back to work is driving this. And then if you predict what this $3.5 trillion just orgy of spending and tax hikes, that's going to feed more fuel onto the inflation area. And this president's been, and the Fed to some degree, has it been in denial how serious a concern this is and how long-term it may be. And Sean, as you know, no one wants to see inflation.
The fact is that many people across the country are about to receive more stimulus relief from their state governments. While only a few states have currently offered stimulus money to residents, it is possible a growing number will take similar action. And that's because the federal government provided states with substantial funding for relief, and many locations may decide to give some of that money back to their citizens. California has authorized payments of $600 to qualifying taxpayers in the state who make under $75,000. An additional $500 is also available for dependents. In the state of Florida, only first responders and educators are eligible for a fourth stimulus check from the state. And this stimulus check will come in the form of a $1,000 payment.
So what we have got to do as a nation is, first of all, to understand Social Security is not going broke. Social Security has $2.8 trillion in the trust fund, can pay out every benefit owed for the next 19 years. But that's not good enough. What we need to do is expand Social Security benefits because people can't make it on.
Residents of New Mexico who are not eligible for the federal stimulus checks can receive a payment from the local government, with the money going to the lowest income state residents first. And if you guys live in the state of New York, you could also be set to receive a fourth stimulus payment from your governors. The state of New York created a $2.1 billion fund to provide payments of up to $15,600 for workers.
Thank God that we have heroes like you. And I stand with you all, and America should as well. Now, let me turn to the focus of today's remarks. There aren't a lot of things that almost every American can agree on. But I think it's safe to say that all of us, whatever our background, our age, or where we live, can agree that prescription drug prices are outrageously expensive in America.
Who are undocumented and who are thus excluded from receiving federal stimulus relief. Recipients must be New York residents, have lost earnings due to the crisis, and have made less than $26,208 in 2020. In addition, everybody, about half of U.S. states withdrew federal funds for the unemployed months early to encourage out-of-work residents to find a job. But mounting evidence shows that policy gambit hasn't paid off yet. 26 states announced their intent to end federal crisis-era benefits starting in May. They officially pulled out in waves over June and July. And the federal programs in question were created by the CARES Act in March 2020, as millions of people turned to the unemployment system amid mass layoffs. Businesses are getting creative in their efforts to attract and retain workers amid a labor shortage caused by the crisis. Many give workers a financial boost, and some restaurants are now offering 401,000 accounts, 401k accounts, or profit sharing to their employees. Everybody, while we are still waiting for a fourth stimulus payment from Congress, I want to do my part in helping out my community, and I know that a $100 Amazon gift card can help a lot of you guys out. So here's the important news that you have to know. The economy is improving from the worst of the crisis, but the situation for struggling renters is not. For the last 6 months or so, more than 11 million renters have reported that they're being behind. The lack of progress is largely due to how slow states have been to get federal assistance out to the people in need. In the last two major stimulus packages, everybody, Congress allocated a combined total of $46 billion for renters and their landlords. And according to a new analysis by the National Low Income Housing Coalition, just around $4.2 billion of that money has reached the households. Renters are seeing the aid faster in some states than in others, and Texas has already managed to distribute more than half of its first round of federal assistance, while South Carolina has given out less than 2%. In addition, everybody, researchers at the coalition point to a number of reasons for why states have been so slow to disperse the money. Across the country, programs are understated and overwhelmed by the volume of applications, and documentation requirements have also been barriers. In a recent study by the Urban Institute, found that fewer than half of renters even know about the federal assistance. Last year, the CDC issued a temporary order to stop eviction due to the crisis. And since then, this federal eviction moratorium has been extended several times. And on August 3rd, the CDC extended it again for specific counties. But renters in counties where the order does not apply now face the possibility of eviction if they still owe back rent. If you're a renter facing eviction, there are several sites and services available to you. Connect with state and local organizations that are distributing federal rental assistance in their communities by visiting the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's new Rental Assistance Finder.